Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Gabe with Indigo Software, genuine Microsoft software for less. So in today's video, we're covering the topic of network ports, and we're going to explain what they are, how we use them on a daily basis, and why they're important. Now, before we get into that, if you guys are interested in genuine Microsoft software at a great price, check out Indigo Software. We'll have links in the description box below. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so we'll start by defining what a port is. Now, although it sounds like it, it's not a physical connection, it's actually a logical connection, and it's used by programs and services to exchange information. More specifically, it determines which service a computer or server is going to use. A few quick examples would be web pages and emails. Now, an important thing about ports is that they have a unique identifying number, and this number ranges from 0 all the way to 65535. Now for an example, port 80 and port 443 are the web page port numbers for HTTP and HTTPS. And port number 21 is FTP, otherwise known as File Transfer Protocol. Another thing that's really important to understand about ports is that it is always associated with an IP address. An IP address is a numerical address that is an identifier for a computer or device on a network. Every device, such as the computer in front of me, needs to have an IP address for communication purposes. And an IP address and a port number work together to exchange data on a network. IP addresses also determine the location of the server, and the location data, for example, would state the continent, country, city, etc. Now the port number factors into play because it determines which service or program on that server that it wants to use. Now if this doesn't quite make sense, let's use an example that you use every day and don't even know it. So one of the most common ports is port 80. Port 80 is HTTP, which again is a web page service. So if I open up my web browser and I enter youtube.com, my computer has to do a few things before I get to the YouTube web page. First, it converts the domain of youtube.com into YouTube's IP address. And in addition to that, since I'm using a web browser which uses HTTP, my computer is going to add port 80 to the IP address. So with this IP address, my computer is going to use this to locate YouTube's web server. And at that point, the IP address has done its job, and now it's the port number's turn. So YouTube's server will see the incoming request with port number 80, and it's going to forward that request to its built-in web service so that you can finally retrieve YouTube's web page. Now, this entire process takes less than a second, but it explains what happens every single time that you attempt to connect to a web page. So all of this is behind the scenes. You're not really seeing it happening, and in most cases you're probably not aware of it. Now there is a program called NetStat, and this is a tool that you can use to display the current network connections and port activity on your computer. If you guys want to learn more about NetStat and ports in general, let us know in the comment section below if we should make a video covering that. Now before we end the video, we're going to cover a few more things. We're going to circle back to port numbers first. So as we said in the beginning, they range from 0 to 65535, and port numbers are assigned by something called IANA, which stands for Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. Port numbers are also broken down into 3 separate categories. Port numbers from 0 to 1023 are called system or well-known ports, and these define common ports that are used by most people on a daily basis. Port numbers 1024 through 49151 are known as user or registered ports. These are ports that can be registered by a company or developer for a particular service. Examples of that include Oracle or Microsoft servers. And finally, port numbers 49152 all the way to 65535 are known as dynamic or private ports. And these are client-side ports that are free to use. So your computer actually assigns itself a port within this range while it's using a service. For example, when you're viewing a web page. So if we break down those 3 categories, the system and user port categories are used on a server, whereas the dynamic/private ports are used on our computer, the client. Alright, so that's going to do it for today's video. Again, if you guys wanted to see more in-depth tutorials on this or explanations using NetStat or other programs, let us know if we should make more videos covering this topic. Again, if you're interested in genuine Microsoft software at a great price, check out Indigo Software. We'll have those links in the description box below. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.